Okay. So these are the principles for DAP, developmentally appropriate practice. And I'm not going to go through them right now, but since I will send you this presentation, have a look at them, because this is what informs our decisions on what activities we will be using in class, but also online with our young learners. What I want you to focus on now is the principle number 7. Children develop best when they have secure relationships. And this means I want us to focus in their relationship with the teacher. Before deciding to start teaching young learners, we need to remember that the main reason we're doing it is to bond with them and to build a relationship. The reason is not primarily educational, it's primarily emotional. So our lesson and our lesson structure needs to take that into consideration. So the main reason why any childhood educator is right now taking the risk of teaching online is relationships, helping each other. It's not about language. It's about the individual. It's about their heart. So research has shown that if we have strong teacher-learner relationships, the impact is huge when it comes to cognition, language development, literacy development, social abilities. Also, in this very difficult time, historically, culturally, socially, whatever, strong teacher-learner relationships reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. So try to understand how important it is to be next to our students at this difficult time. So an extra reason to go online is not because θα χάσουν την ύλη, θα χάσουν τη χρονιά, θα χάσουν το βιβλίο, θα χάσουν τα κεφάλαια. It doesn't really matter. They can catch up in September. But it does matter because they need their teacher next to them. Okay, so practically, what this means is our lessons also in the DAP framework need to have a rhythm. So we need to build a rhythm for our learners within every lesson. And how we structure that in a DAP-based lesson, we need to balance between active and quiet activities. It's like a breathe in, breathe out process. So quiet, active, quiet, active. It's not all the active stuff at the end and all the passive, let's say, stuff at the beginning. It needs this balance. Before structuring our activities, one thing we need to remember is our learners' attention span. And it's very, very short. This is, based on research, best case. So we're dealing with 6 between, I guess, okay, we also do, in our school, we also do pre-junior. Eleni is the one who teaches and Kelly, pre-Ks and Ks. So we have 4 years old as well. But the majority of young learners is between 6 and 10. So this is the age group we're looking at. And their attention span varies between 12 and 30 minutes, assuming we're not talking about learners with problems with their attention span, like ADHD or ADD. This is the average child. This means that an implication of this is that online teaching time should be less than real life teaching time. So if your regular lesson is an hour and a half, your online lesson will be 50 minutes. Okay, if your regular lesson is an hour, your online lesson will be 25, 30 minutes. So try to balance the time as well. Thinking of the critical pedagogy we talked about at the beginning of the webinar, we said we don't want passive consumers. The screen makes you a passive consumer. You're passive, you just watch. You're now passive. Hopefully you're thinking what I'm saying, but if you think about it, you're passive. So what we need to create is learners who do not just consume screen time, but that do something. That is why the balance of breathe in, breathe out, quiet activity, active activity, needs to be very well taken care of when you build your lesson plans. Now, Also very important is to set up your routines from day one. When you start teaching your young learners, make sure you have a routine at the beginning of your lesson. It could be a song. Annie and Eleni, I know they start with a song and they end with a song. It can be a poll. If you're using Zoom, Zoom has a poll feature. We will use it in the end, at the end for feedback at the end of the webinar. So it's like a mood meter. How are you feeling today? How do you like online lessons? You ask them a question, and this sort of signifies the beginning of the lesson. You can give them a lesson map, which is something like that I draw on a paper or on a mini whiteboard that I have, and it shows the stages of our lesson. And it doesn't matter that it's an online lesson, it's still a lesson with stages. It's important to use familiar classroom language they already know. Don't resort to Greek suddenly because it's online. And again, we end with a routine, and these have to be almost identical in every lesson, because this gives them safety. Things are normal. This new environment has its rules. It's a system I can follow. Now, one question that lots of teachers are asking me these days is, how much first language use am I allowed to use and for what purposes? Normally, I say 0. But for online lessons, because all sorts of problems might arise, you are allowed to use a little bit of L1 just to give instructions, like, ξέρω, Ανή, κόλλησε η οθόνη μου, τι να κάνω? Okay, you can say, try and check this. But if they don't get it, don't waste all the time by trying to give instructions in English. Say it in Greek. Or if they don't understand what they have to do in an exercise, remember that in real life, we use English only, but they have all these non-verbal cues that help. Our bodies are there. They can feel our mood. They can feel our energy. They know when we are angry, when we're calm, when we're happy, when we're satisfied with their work. We can mind things more easily. Now, it's not that easy. So it's okay to use, I mean, you don't have to feel guilty if you use L1 from time to time, but just don't do the lesson in Greek, because if you do the lesson in Greek, it's not an English lesson. Now, you need, I mean, my proposal generally for online education is we need a combination of synchronous and asynchronous learnings. Asynchronous means you post things for them and they do them in their own time. And ask them to do stuff during the asynchronous part so that you can practice things together during the synchronous. And if you need them to prepare something more specific, ask parents to help you. Like next time we will need A4 papers and markers. Parents need to know that, okay? You can send reminders, you can send emails, you can send SMS messages. And generally, whatever you do in the, let's say, asynchronous, recycle it in the synchronous, or the other way. What you do in the synchronous part of the lesson, recycle it, revise it in the asynchronous. Because they don't have too many things to do these days, I have found that their retention pace is quite good. They remember things. Annie, I don't know if you have the same impression.
Definitely. They remember things because they're involved with English the whole time. They do and redo things, even with like when we upload a game or something, they do it so many times, so they have this exposure in English like every day, actually.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's move to practical things, ideas. So, I will start with I Spy with my little eye. So I will stop sharing my screen for a minute because I want you to be able to see each other. Hi, Amy. Okay, I just saw you. I'm going to unmute you now. Make sure you have the view. Make sure, Virginia, we can hear you. So I'm muting you. Okay. So I'm going to try to be able to see as many people as possible, because I spy with my little eye someone who has blonde hair and a bookcase in the background, and their name on the screen is male, although the person is female. Who is it?
Elizabeth.
Yes, Argyris Dimas, which is not Argyris Dimas. It's our colleague Elizabeth Value from Lamia. I spy with my little eye someone who has short blonde hair and black headphones. Who is it?
Aphrodite.
Very good. See, this is I spy with my little eye, and you can start with it because you know every day they're wearing different clothes, they have different things. I'm muting you again because we have people's children. Okay, so you can start with I spy with my little eye. They like it a lot because also they, you know, they look at each other and they observe each other, and this is another thing they miss. Now, I am going to ask you to stand up. Everybody stand up. Stand up. Stand up. And I think I have to unmute you.
Hello.
Okay. If you're doing something else which is irrelevant to this, mute yourselves. I want you to stand up. I'll play a song and you do what the song says all together.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear?
Yes.
There once was a troll, guarded a bridge, wouldn't let you pass until you did what he said. And a special request for when something like this: stand up, turn around, sit down.
Okay, so we
Stand up, sit down.
Okay, that's easy.
Stand up, turn around,
Okay, up to
and down. Sit down, stand up, turn around, down. But then he said you had to do it faster.
Faster!
Oh my God.
Again said the troll who guarded the bridge. He wouldn't let you pass until you did what he said.
Okay.
And a special request when something like this: stand up, turn around, sit down. Stand up, sit down. Stand up, turn around,
Turn around. Okay.
down. Sit down, stand up, turn around, sit down. But you had to do it faster. Can you do it?
Okay,
No,
remember
no, no,
to do
no.
it faster. Someone be able to do the rest?
Thank you for pointing that out.
But you see how this can work. I'm muting you again. Annie, unmute yourself. This is one of the things they absolutely love because they move. You need to remember that our students these days, I need to take a breath. It was quite fast. Our students these days spend a lot of time sitting down. So our lessons should also be an opportunity for them to stand up, turn around, and then sit down. Okay. Okay. Another one that I do in every lesson. Oh, there is a message here. Let me see. Maybe somebody cannot hear us. Okay. is dancing dictation. Dancing dictation is a very, very simple activity that I do in my real teaching, but also in online teaching, and it works well with young learners. You play a song, any song you like, and you stop it. While the song plays, they have to dance, and they can dance with their hands, okay? When the music stops, they have to freeze. And when they freeze, it's dictation. The one who does not freeze is asked something from their vocabulary or spelling or dictation, like give me an animal, if our dictation was about animals, or how do you spell the word lion, L-I-O-N. If they do it correctly, they get a second chance. You can also try it not with words assigned, but with words that you just taught. So you teach the new vocabulary from the unit, then you play dancing dictation, and they remember it better. So I'll show you an example. You see, and I freeze it, and then I ask them, and they have to say the meaning of any word I have assigned or I want them to remember. And they love it. It's the best time of the lesson. Another one is, okay, I have another one, I think, another dancing. I'm obsessed with dancing dictation myself because it helps me feel better. So this is hands only. So they freeze, I ask a word. And another variation of this is the funny face freeze, where now you play music, and if they don't want to dance, you ask them to make a funny face while the music plays, and then freeze when the music stops. Whoever does not freeze, again, is asked. It can be a word, a grammar pattern you just taught, something you want them to remember. It's just like to check things. Now, another thing you can do is to ask them to follow instructions, all kinds of instructions, like put an object next to your ear. You can see the picture here. Find a scavenger hunt. Find something yellow. Find something made of carton was here because the word in their book was carton. So find something made of carton. Find something blue. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I don't know if Annie went on during this.
No, I didn't. I didn't know what to, like, okay. No.
Okay, so this was find something blue, find something green, find something red. And see, can you see how happy they look when they do that? It's the best time of the lesson. Annie, your turn.
Yes, so using scavenger hunt is a great opportunity for children to move, actually, because they have to stand up and find the object that you are asked them to do. So scavenger hunt is amazing. And you can also practice specific vocabulary sets. Like, for example, with my B junior class last time, we had to learn the school subjects. So I asked them to bring their school bag, and they had to show me all their subjects and tell me which ones they are and what they are doing and so on and so forth. So it's an amazing opportunity for them to use their own things, which they love. Realia and everything is something that they actually love. Next slide, Mary. We can't hear you.
These are examples of what Annie was doing, like also with classroom object, school objects.
Classroom objects in this.
Yes, find a pencil.
These are the 8 junior first graders. So most of them actually. They love it. They're pretty happy, and sometimes they even involve their parents. Like if I ask them to bring like a green apple or a red apple, they say to their parents, like they're really excited,
and very, very much engaged. I mean, these sort of kinesthetic activities are their favorites. Now, another one, and you can assign this for homework or ask them to do it in real time, is the treasure box game. So prepare a box or a bag and put inside everything blue or everything yellow or everything red or everything made of plastic. I mean, depending on what you on what you want to do, and then you can have them presented in the next lesson. Okay, sorry guys, because I have a message from a school that cannot enter. Let me send them a message on how to do it, and I will send them the recording as well. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, this activity can be extended based on, depending on the level of your students. So you can have one for starters, and this is not mine, I found it on a website. I mean, a lot of the things I say obviously are not mine or Annie's. We have read, we have searched, we have combined information from different webinars and workshops and everything. So this is if you work with Cambridge Young Learners. For starters level, you can ask them to do that because this is vocabulary related to starters. Then for movers, you can do that.
With the shapes, yes.
Yes, with the shapes. So another way to organize your scavenger hunt is around levels. Flyers, then, because now you have materials, you have more difficult things, find something with stripes, find 2 things that are empty and 1 thing that's full. Name 2 things that you can turn on and off. You see how the vocabulary becomes more demanding, but again, the activity, the structure of the activity is the same. It's a scavenger hunt or a treasure box, because you can assign this for homework and they can present it, so they have oral production, or you can. Okay, I think these are the people who just texted me. Okay. Just so you know, I'm recording this. So for the ones who participate, you'll get the recording afterwards. Now, you can ask them, I mean, if you want to teach prepositions of place, to put things here and there. So I asked them to bring a cup and 2 spoons. I said, quickly, go to the kitchen, bring 2 spoons and a cup.
We cannot hear the video.
Okay, now, guys, be quiet. You have to listen to my instructions. Put the cup between the 2 spoons. Put the cup between, excellent, Miranda. The cup between the 2 spoons. Excellent. Between. Very good. Now, the cup. Okay, and so on. Across from, above, on. Across from each other. The spoons across from each other.
food on the cup.
And you can see how it works and how they like it. And also, I mean, because it's kinesthetic, you have a very, very good understanding of the differences, for example, between on, above, or across from, or under and below, and all these tiny, fine differences that are not easy to teach otherwise. I mean, they cannot really be taught through translation. And of course, Simon Says, let's do it, you know it, but good old Simon Says, it always works. Let me have you. So Simon Says, touch your nose. Simon Says, touch your right ear. Touch your left ear. Ah, you lost. I didn't say Simon Says. Annie, you lost. Okay. So, okay. And you can play that, and you can make it more and more difficult depending on the language level and how they develop. Okay. And then Annie, checking dictation. This is something that Annie has used, so she will tell you about it.
Can you put the next slide, Mary?
Huh, isn't it the next slide? Sorry. Can you see
Good,
it now?
thank you. Yeah, of course. So you ask your students to bring a plate with sugar or flour in it. In the classroom, I usually use sand, but it's not appropriate right now. So what Mary said before, it's when you want your students to use realia or ingredients in your online lessons, you make sure that you have informed the parents beforehand so as to have everything ready in front of them and not like spending time on finding things. In this activity, what I ask them to do is write, I say a word, cat, dog, or whatever, and they write it on the plate. Like they create this cat picture, let's say. Please make sure, don't ask them to show it to you because everything will be a mess. Make sure that you show them afterwards the word and they can check on their own. You can use this activity for learning dictation as homework as well. Students can look at the pictures of the words they have for dictation. They can write the word in the plate and they can check it. This actually creates autonomous learners, which is quite helpful because like so many times I've heard from parents that complaining that they don't have enough time to spend with their kids doing their homework. So this is quite helpful to use and create autonomous learners. I have done this activity with my 8 junior students and the washback effect actually is amazing. And I have to tell you a story actually. A specific parent has sent me a picture of his kid doing this activity in his free time, and he used his cat box to do words, like, you know, the little box to write the words in it. So it was very funny. Okay, the next one. This is quite a simple exercise. You draw what you hear. I think everybody uses it nowadays. This is a way to check if the learners know the meaning of the word, of course, and not the spelling. When they finish the drawing, they show it to you. Don't forget, guys, to give them feedback and use their names as much as possible because they are not sure if you're talking to them. They can't actually see where your eyes are. So make sure that you use their names a lot. Excellent work, Nefeli. Great work, Nick, and so on and so forth. Yes, the next one is miming. So this is again a rather straightforward task. A student chooses a word to mime and the student who finds it goes next. So again, we use as many kinesthetic activities as we can.
Annie, let's do that one. Mime a word.
Okay.
Who finds it?
Okay. I can give you, if you want me, I can give you a hint. For example, feelings. Okay.
Okay.
Angry.
Very good. So Kelly, go next. Kelly, go next.
Sad.
Sad. Sophia,
Right. Excited.
Yes.
Good.
Well done.
I haven't got a camera, sorry.
Don't worry. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's a very good activity to practice vocabulary, to revise vocabulary, and students love it. And also this creates what Mary said before, a sense of community. We are all together. It's not like a teacher-centered lesson. The teacher is talking and everybody's listening. We are doing things, we are sharing things. So the next thing is give the students a category of a vocabulary. Like, for example, animals. What you can do with this, you can tell them that they should write as many animals as they can in 3 minutes. Tell them beforehand that spelling is not of the essence in this activity, because they might start asking you of how every single word is spelled. Okay. When time's up, they present to the rest of the class the animals that they have found, or the food, or the clothes, or whatever they have written. The minute race, I love it. So give the students a category of vocabulary, for example, school things. You give them a minute and they bring as many school things as they can and they present them. So they are fish and quite resourceful, let me say. But the key thing here is not only the fact that they are moving and they are bringing all those things, but they are going to present their findings, what they have brought in front of them. So participate. What you can do is start with stronger ones presenting their things, so as to give a chance to the weaker ones to listen to the correct form of the sentence and the correct use of language, so they can do the same after that. With the variation part, what you can do, Mary, go one back, very good. So the students can take turns calling out words. In this case, be careful with handling the whole thing, because you have to mute them all and then unmute one by one to tell you, oh, they have to find as many words as they can in 1 minute. Okay, and then you stop them. You can try it for a second time and see if they can find more words in a minute. Okay, okay. Listen and draw or say. Here we can describe an animal, a person, a food, or whatever, and ask them to find what you're describing. The student who finds the word describes something to the class. So this is a great chance for you to check your students' deeper and overall understanding of the language, actually, because it's not only providing words and sentences, so it's a description of something. You should definitely give an example. Okay, so it is, guys, everybody, I want you to try and find the animal. Okay, it is an animal. It is tall and orange. It lives in the jungle and it eats plants. What is it? Unmute yourselves.
Giraffe.
Giraffe. Excellent. Very good. Perfect.
Go. Who found it?
Eleftheria.
Eleftheria,
Eleftheria.
your turn.
Great.
Say something.
Great work.
My animal is usually small. It has got a tail and it wags it when it's happy and it barks. Ruff, ruff.
A dog! Yay! Okay. Let me mute you and go on. Sorry.
Cards. This is an exercise that I use for classroom management, as a classroom management tool. So you say a word, then you show a set of flashcards, one after the other. But because I don't have my flashcards with me, I use a PowerPoint presentation, which I press every slide very fast. So for example, I say the word pencil. So the students see pictures one after the other very quickly, and when they see the word pencil, when they see the picture of a pencil, they have to shout to me, stop, stop, Annie, stop. Okay. So I use it not that much as a vocabulary exercise, but as a classroom management tool. Because if I see that my students start like being hyperactive, start fidgeting and doing other things, I want them to focus on something. So it works quite well. I have used it a lot, to be
And
honest.
if you want to check reading for A junior, for example, and even some B juniors, if you want to, you can have them just the word written and not a picture of the word. And you say, when you see the word pencil, say stop. And you just show them a PowerPoint with words written, and you can check the recognition of the writing code, basically.
Exactly. So this is a similar task as the previous one. In this case, you cover the flashcard. You have, for example, the flashcard here, and you cover it, and you reveal it slowly. Okay. So again, this is used for as a classroom management tool to steer their attention to the screen when something is like when I think that I have started losing them. Okay. So the memory chain is another game that I use. I ask students to stand up. I say a sentence using a word from vocabulary, from the unit, but in a sentence. So I say, I've got a cat. Everybody stands up. I invite the student to add an item to the sentence. For example, I've got a cat and a dog. And everybody repeats what we are saying. If a student cannot remember the list of the items, they have to sit down. I use this activity not only for vocabulary checking and sentence formation and everything, but also for pronunciation purposes. So because I can listen to everybody repeating, I can facilitate better when it comes to pronunciation. Okay, but you can use it to check grammar structures as well. The next one, okay, I use it a lot in my class. So I actually write a sentence on the board. I've got a cat. So they see the sentence for 30 seconds, then I ask them to close their eyes. When they open their eyes again, I have erased one of the words. So they have to read the sentence again, but with the missing word. For example, I have erased the word got. So they say, I've got the cat, even if the word got is not there. I love this activity, really. It works perfectly. They remember chunks of language, and they remember them by heart.
And one thing you need to know now, like a practical tip, is of course you're using the shared whiteboard tool on your platform. On Zoom, it's called shared whiteboard. But all platforms, I mean, even Skype or Messenger, they have a similar tool where you share your screen. Now, Skype and Messenger do not have a whiteboard, but you can use an empty PowerPoint slide or an empty Word document.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, act out the song. So you divide students into groups. You assign a different verse of the song to each one. Students read the words to the song and decide on some actions that they are going to do. You play the song. Each group stands up every time they hear their verse of the song, and they try to sing and do the actions. Now here, apart from the fact that this is a great kinesthetic activity, it is also a great team building activity. So if you have the pro version of Zoom as your synchronous platform, you can easily use the breakout rooms. But if you cannot do it, you don't have it, what you can do is give each student a line from the song. So each student has to decide on the action he or she is going to perform. And every time they hear their line, they stand up, sing along, and perform the action. Again, it's a great multi-purpose activity, as the students learn their sentence by heart if you practice the song often. Okay.
I like that. I love that one.
Mary uses it a lot with storytelling, right?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure. So they learn the song. This is a great opportunity for them to remember a, part of like a big part of a big paragraph, for example. So they learn the song very quickly, and they are fully engaged and focused on the task, as they have to hear when it's their turn. So they're fully engaged again, and you have them there. You have them fully focused.
And as Annie said, you can use it with songs that they know well. Old MacDonald. Next.
Yes.
And the next one, the next one, the next one. Each student says a line, but also with storytelling, like if it's a story that you've been reading for a long time, like We're Going on a Bear Hunt or Gruffalo or The Lion Inside, whichever you've been reading for a long time. We're going on a bear hunt. Going, yes. So, I mean, and they say the next line. You read a little bit, they say the next line, and they love it. And it's also excellent for memory and language learning, because this is how we store and retrieve language, through chunks, as Annie said before. Where's the teddy, Annie?
Where's the teddy? So it's similar to what Mary has shown you before. They use any object they want. It's not. It doesn't have to necessarily be a teddy. They place them on their desk in different positions, and you ask them. Not you, actually. A student asks another student, "Where is the teddy?" And they have to say it's next to the pencil. It's opposite my desk. Okay. So again, do not actually ask. You don't have to ask them. They can do it as a pair or as a team if you have the breakout rooms. Otherwise, all together, but you don't have to ask the question. They can do it on their own.
Okay, and the next one, we're actually going to do it. It's, some of you who have done workshops with me know it already. It's the Wright family. But
Yes.
now we're going to do it in an online environment. I did it with my B class, B senior. But I mean, normally when we do it in real class, what we do is I give them candies and they're in the circle and they have to pass the candy to the person on the right or pass the candy to the person on the left. In this case, Annie, how do we do it?
So what I want you to do is take a thing, a small thing, and hold it in your right hand. Okay. So every time that you hear the word right, okay, you hold it like this. Every time that you hear the word left, you hold it with your left hand. So are you ready?
Are you going to read the story or should I read the story?
Whatever you want, Mary.
Okay, I'm going to read the story. Annie gets something to show it because I'll be reading. Okay, and check who's making a mistake, please. Okay.
Yes.
We do not accept mistakes here. It's an error. It's
intolerant. Can you show me your hands?
Hands up, hands up, everybody.
Show me your hands. Very good. Okay.
Okay, let's go. One day, the Wright family decided to take a vacation. The first thing they had to decide was who would be left at home. Since the Wright family car was not big enough for everybody, Mr. Wright decided that Aunt Linda Wright would be the one left at home. Of course, this made Aunt Linda Wright so mad that she left the house immediately, yelling, "It will be a right cold day before I return."
Faster, Mary, faster.
The Wright family now bundled up the children, Tommy Wright, Susan Wright, Timmy Wright, and Shelley Wright, and got in the car and left. Unfortunately, as they turned out of the driveway, someone had left a trash can in the street, so they had to turn right around and stop the car. Oh, you're good, people.
Yes, they're very good. They're very good. They're very good.
I did it with my B class, and they loved it, so it works.
I did it with my adult class, to be honest with you. So when we were in class, and it worked amazing.
Something.
Yes.
We can create our own story, I guess, with vocabulary we've taught.
Exactly.
Okay.
Great idea. Actually, I haven't thought about it. Thank you. Good. Okay. This is the storybook game. So as you know, I'm very much into storytelling. So one of the things I keep doing in my online classes is keep the stories alive. So you can start, even before you start doing story time in your online lesson, you can ask them to choose a character from a storybook character from a book that we either read on Zoom together or we read in class before, or they have at home. And you, if you will assign this, but you need the help of a family member if they're very little ones. Like, ask your children to think of a character book they really like, and they don't reveal the character, but the other children will ask questions like, where does this character live? What problems does the character have? Or even simpler questions, yes, no questions. Is it a boy or a girl? Is the character young or old? I mean, think of the possible vocabulary practice, but also grammar practice you can have through this activity. And of course, the higher the level, like if you reach C class, A2, A2 plus, you can ask more complicated questions. It's not just you who asks, it's the children who ask, but it's a good idea to give them some ready-made questions for them to use. You will see as they proceed with the story that they will use their own questions, but it's good to give them some scaffolding at the beginning. Another thing, you know, we focus a lot on our school is pronunciation. So we say a word and the children have to say a rhyming word. So for example, I say cat and I say Annie, and Annie has to say bat. Then Jota has to say hat, for example. Okay, so but the best thing, my favorite variation of this activity is, and we're gonna do it now, when I say 3 words, and you have to identify the odd one, the one that does not rhyme. Okay, so, and you can make it more difficult if you want with minimal pairs, but I will not go that far now. Let's try it. Ship, sip, lap.
Lap.
Okay. Through, throw, flew. Throw. I said through, throw, flew. See? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're also interested in pronunciation and understanding short, long vowels, difficult consonant clusters, and so on. Plus, I have to say that what we've seen in our school is that children love pronunciation work. They love it. Like when we assign tongue twisters, it's the favorite. Okay. Now, this I did with the class AB Junior. We have a class that is A and B Junior together, and there was a unit in the book about animals, of course. So they had to revise all the animals we studied, and I just taught them 3 words. Okay, it was land, sky, and sea. So I would say the words, and they had to say all together if they had just land, water, or sky. Okay, so let's try it. For example, eagle.
Sky.
Dolphin.
Water.
Okay, sea or water, yeah, whatever. Mouse.
Land.
Okay, and then of course you can have a child say the animals and the other children to say the land, water, or sky. Okay, this is for very little ones, for the ones of you like Eleni who teach, and Kelly who teach pre-K and kindergarten. This is for concentration purposes. You clap and they have to clap back as many times as you did. Let's try it.
They can count as well, right?
Exactly, and they can also say, like, how many times did I clap?
Yes, I've done this class for
3.
3.
2. 4.
4, but it's also the sound delay. Okay, now, I have a magic wand that will turn you into different animals. I want you to go to sleep. Everybody go to sleep. Shh. Sleeping, sleeping. All the children were sleeping. And when they woke up, they were all dogs. Woof, woof, be dogs, everybody. Okay, Go back to sleep, close your eyes, sleeping, sleeping. All the children were sleeping. And when they woke up, they were stretching like cats. Okay, and you can have a variation, not with animals, but other inanimate objects, like, and they were moving like robots. Or they were babies. You know, like, try it with different things. Now, collaborative storytelling is good for A2, A2 plus. Each child adds a line. You can either do it orally or on the chat. So if you have a C class, A2, A2 plus, and B senior as well, they can do it in the chat and they can add lines the one after the other. Or you can have them in groups. You can put them in breakout rooms and ask them to prepare a line, and then it's a crazy story. You know, you give them the main characters, they prepare a line, just one line, and then you add all the lines together, and it's a crazy story. This, I think Liz will like it, Elizabeth, because she's already into statues and museums. Now, you ask them to be, if you have, for example, a unit with important figures, or there is a great book on books that you can use now, and it's called Inventors. So you can ask them to be one of the inventors, one of the famous figures. I'm going to mute you because there's some background noise. Sorry. So, and they have to freeze, take a pose as one of these characters. And then the others have to find who this person is, and they can ask questions, and they can, you know, there's a lot of past tense use here. Did you invent penicillin? Did you live in France? Did you? So you can practice a lot of past tenses through this activity, but also, you know, it's kinesthetic. Now, if you've used rhymes and tongue twisters and, you know, chants a lot already, and they're familiarized with them, you can change one word and they have to spot it, like twinkle twinkle little house. Oh no, it's star. It's a bitsy turtle. Oh no, it's a spider. So surprise them with a mistake. Guess the shape. You give them things of the same shape, and the first one who can guesses the shape. So orange, sun, bowl, pancake plate, circle. Pillow, door, computer, skin, rug, rectangle. And you can either do it by making a PowerPoint or just saying the words, or and you can unmute one by one or have them do it all together. Now, again, the big or little, it works very well with pre-K, K, and A junior. They just have to say big or little, and you give them different things, and they can also do it as well, big, little. And if you want, you can add more adjectives like medium or huge, enormous, or tiny. And you give them more vocabulary to work with. This does not only practice big and little or size adjectives, it also practices recognition of nouns, because they need to be able to know the noun to say if it's big or little. For the little ones, pre-K and K, some of these are dedicated to my colleague Annabeth, who's here today, and she teaches kindergarten on Zoom, on WebEx. So you know how the little ones love making animal sounds. So you say the animal, they make the sound. A good idea is here to teach them the English word for the sound, because you know that the animals do not sound the same in all languages. So in English it's woof woof, but in Greek it's rav rav, and there are more differences. And I'm giving you some examples here. I will send you this anyway, so you can have a look at them. You can also do guess the color, like guess the shape. We did before. It's a variation. So you basically say a group of things that are of the same color, and they have to find the color. Okay. So you can see like apple, cherries, strawberries, tomatoes, stop signs, and the children will say red, grass, frogs, peas, limes, the outside of a watermelon, celery, green. And of course, you can use, depending on the level, more and more difficult words, not so predictable, like grass, but you can say peas, limes, the outside of the watermelon, celery. And this immediately places the exercise at a higher level. Annie?
Okay, it's a good idea to use pictures when you give instructions, at least in the beginning. So as Mary said before, we need to have a routine, let's say, and we can remind them that what should they do when they want to say something. Okay, they can raise their hands, we can see them, and we can unmute them. Or I hate the word be quiet, to be honest with you. So what I do a lot is I use, Mary, can you go to the next slide? I use this picture. I love it. Okay, so every time they see this, they have to be quiet. It's a good idea because the children cannot see you. So in order to convey meaning of what you're saying, it's a good idea to show them pictures for giving instructions. I love this. Kelly, thank you very much for sharing this. Kelly has found this, Kelly Papazoglou. So in order to create autonomous learners, we use this nice, I'm going to show it to you in this, can you see it? It's a page that I have folded in this way. So the first thing that I see, that they see is this column, which says, look and say the letter names. So I use this because I never ask them to copy the dictation words for homework. What they can do in order for them to learn the words, the spelling of the words, they can work on their own. So the first time they look at the word, the written form of the word, they write it here and they say the letter names. If they're A juniors or first graders or something, you can also accept the sound. For example, lion. If they don't say L-I-O-N and they say L-E-O-N, it's again the same. It's perfect. Then, after they do this, they open it and they can copy one more time the word that they have seen either in their book or in the board or somewhere written. Okay, so first they write and they say the letter names, then they copy. Okay, after that they cover this one and they try to write it on their own, the word on their own. Okay, then they uncover this side and they check if the word is right or wrong. And then they can have another go. Okay, one more time. In this way, they don't have the parents there dictating the words and saying, oh no, check it again, it's wrong, do it like this, do it like that. They can work on their words on their own. They love it. We have practiced it in the class, but they do it a lot as homework. So Kelly Papazoglou, thank you for sharing this.
Okay, another thing is that one of the things you need to have in mind in these difficult times is assessment and tracking their progress. We need to somehow track their progress, but it's not easy. I mean, of course, if you have a platform that automatically corrects quizzes, great, we do that, have that, but just having the quiz grade is not the only way we should be tracking progress. It's time to introduce alternative assessment, and this means self-assessment. So ask them, how well did you do with dictation? What grade would you give yourself? How well do you feel you know this or that or the other? It's really, really important for them to start evaluating themselves. You will find out that they're very fair. And in reality, we're also teaching them a life skill. Does it really matter if, I don't know, like out of 20, they got 18 or 17 or 19? What matters is that they go back, they check their mistakes, and they see how well they've done. And this increases the sense of achievement when they do well, because it's themselves evaluating themselves.
Themselves, exactly. A written task, or you can have it like as an oral task as well as a presentation. So you can give them this example. You are a food, you are a season. Like, for example, they can create a poem in this way. I am a souvlaki, I am spring, I am evening, I am a car, okay? So in this case, what you are doing actually is you're trying to revise vocabulary to see what they remember. And believe me, guys, they are going to come up with words. Eleni, would you like to say something?
No, she was looking for her charger. So.
Okay. So you're going to revise vocabulary, but apart from that, you're going to see that your students know way more that you have taught them. So this is actually also an opportunity for them to share what they know and haven't been taught by you, actually. So it works quite well with B juniors and above, to be honest with you. I haven't tried it with A junior.
As a presentation in class, you mean they can present it in class?
Yes, you can present it. You can give them, you can actually provide them with the example that Mary showed us now. Okay, you can model it, and then they can do it either orally or in written form. And you can also, what you also can do is after, for example, Mary does her presentation, you can ask the other children, the other students, okay, what kind of food Mary is? So to see and to check if everybody have listened to what Mary said. Okay, Mary tongue twisters, your favorite one. Okay, the children love it. Sometimes children read tongue twisters better than me, for sure. Because they have practiced it so many times, they are really competitive. They really want to do the best that they can. So especially with the Shelley sells seashells at the seashore. So they love it. They know it by heart. And the difference between the sounds, it's so nice. Pronunciation here is of the essence. So, and we stress and we
focus.
We focus on pronunciation. Come on, it doesn't come out.
Okay.
We focus on pronunciation, so it's a great opportunity for them to practice.
Okay. Now we said before that the lesson should combine breathe out activities with breathe in activities, so the one after the other. It should have a storytelling component that you can either assign for homework, like I'll show you examples in a minute. They can use VOOCs or Oxford Owls or YouTube stories that are read aloud on YouTube, or you can actually spend the last 5-10 minutes of your lesson by telling them the story, showing it to them on your screen. All the books can be found on PDF form, even on PowerPoint, many of them, and they can hear your voice telling the story, and then you can assign it for homework. And I will show you now websites on which you can, let me find them. What do you see on your screen now?
Zoom.
You see Zoom. Okay, I don't want you to see Zoom. I want you to see something else. Where is my stop share? Okay, share. I want you to see this page. I'll show you VOOCs, which is great. And Zoom is free now. It gives a 1-year free subscription to teachers.
It's you mean
VOOCs.
Yes. Okay.
What did I say?
Zoom.
Sorry, VOOC, Zoom, everything. I'm confused about this. No, Zoom is, it has a free version, but I'm using the paid one. VOOCs is great. It gives free subscription. It does not give free access to students, though. So what you have to do is either play the story in real time when you do your Zoom, or record your screen and send it to them. So I'll show you a story, like I mean, and it has stories for different ages, I mean, and different levels. The one I used this week and I liked it a lot is
They also a cat.
They Also a Cat. Do you see it now?
Whiskers, ears,
Yes.
and paws.
Yeah, it's great. I've been doing that
So
with my
I did
students
it
too.
with my A senior and B senior, and we revised past simple through it.
And the child saw a cat. And the dog saw a cat.
And you can see how it's the illustration is great, but also the animation is great. And you also have the text. And I mean, there are many things you can do. If you go to resources on Books, you have two things. The one is a lesson plan with how you can use the story, but even better, this is what I like, the pause and ponder button, where you, let me show you. I mean, for Giraffes Can Dance, for example, it tells you at which minute to stop the video and what question to ask. So this is really great for live classes, for Zoom lessons or WebEx or Big Blue Button or whatever platform you're using. But also, if you're using Edpuzzle, you upload the video there and you place the questions at the minute that it suggests here, and they do it interactively. So they read the book and they have a question and they interact with the story. But also, if you read it live on Zoom, you stop. So I should have stopped at 0:35. The question is, what is Gerald good at doing? So, sorry, yes. Anyway, and you ask the relevant question that you have here. So Books is great. Another one that is totally free and everybody has free access to it is Oxford Owls. You don't have to be using Oxford Books to use it. It's like a huge digital library with books for children. And of course, you can find so many things on YouTube, like, I don't know, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Gruffalo, Monkey Puzzle, anything. I mean, on YouTube, you've got The Lion Inside, the one we used with our students recently. And you look, you go to YouTube. Can you see YouTube now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And you have the book here, either as a reading aloud video or animated. I just like Books because it also has the words. And one thing you can do to practice reading aloud is you assign, I did it for the weekend with one of my classes. I assigned this book, They All Saw the Cat. And I said, I want you to read it very, very well, because we're going to have a reading aloud contest. And you do it like karaoke. So you play the video without sound. And each one of them has to look.
The cat walked through the world with its...
The students have to read it as they see it here. So, and then, I mean, I love reading aloud contests because it's a playful way to go back to reading aloud. I know that reading aloud was out of the curriculum for some years, but now it's coming back because we don't use it for comprehension, but we do use it for intonation and pronunciation purposes, and it's good practice. So one thing you can use is storytelling, and then where's my presentation? It's here. Okay, let me show you. And then what you can assign is things like, I think Elizabeth has done it already. I saw she published something similar. Sorry, no, made a mistake. Okay, so you can assign something from the book, like draw a scene from the book that you liked and write something about it, or copy something from the book. Okay, so this is from The Lion Inside, and this is from The Lion Inside as well. And then, or we had our little ones, a senior to read Baby Owls, great book, and then do the same. draw a scene from the book and write something. I mean, here it's Lydia, she's 8 years old, and she just copied something from the book, but she added the last sentence as she remembered it. And there is a mistake, but it's okay. I mean, she said, we want my mummy, instead we want our mummy. But see, I mean, instead of a signed copy, which is meaningless and empty, you can ask them to do that. Go to the book they like, pick a scene they like, and draw it, and either copy something from the book or from the scene, or add their own idea. Now, when it comes to reading aloud, there are two ways of doing it on Zoom or WebEx or Big Blue Button or any platform you're using. The easy one is mute unmute. So you have each student read something, a line, a bubble, part of a paragraph, or you can assign choral reading. This can work well only if you don't have too many students, because otherwise there will be sound delays and the choral part will not work. So you need to make sure that you have like up to 6 students, good internet, and you can all hear them at the same time. Now, when it comes to homework, it's important to ask them to do things that involve limited screen time, or if you have something that you want them to do on your asynchronous platform, you should add something for them to do that requires 0 screen time. So make something and present it to us. Draw something and present it to us. Bake something and present it to us. Find something at home and present it to us. One of the things you can do, not with the very little ones, but I think from C class and above, if they read a book, you can ask them to dress up as a character from the book and say something that this character would say, and have other students guess who the character is. So, I mean, you know, and the good thing about being home is that they have access to everything: hats and scarves and glasses and objects and swords, and you know, this is one of the benefits, of the advantages of working from home. So you can ask them to find something. You can ask them to find something that relates to the character of your book, your course book, or the storybook. So please, if you've done Gruffalo, for example, find things that have to do with Gruffalo and the forest at home or from the garden. They can prepare to act something out and share it with you next time on Zoom. I saw this, I mean, we did it with our deeper learning class and it works so well, but it can work with all levels. Look outside of the window every day at 2 and write down what you see. And when you meet again, they have to say what they saw, or they can send it to you. I mean, of course, with more advanced students like deeper learning, it was poetry. They wrote amazing things, and then they connected with the poem from T.S. Eliot, and it was like real art. But even with the little ones, look outside every night at 8 before you go to bed, and write down what you see. Or ask them to be the teacher for a day, and you can have one student be the teacher for a day and teach their toy, teach their brother or sister, teach a parent about a concept you want them to understand, or a tongue twister. So, and it's really funny. So ask them to teach their father how to say Shelley sells shells at the seashore, and record it. Normally the father would say something totally different, wrong, or I mean, in some cases it might be correct as well. But the little ones love taking the role of the teacher. So ask them, give them this as homework, be the teacher for this task, and teach it to your toy or your brother or sister or a parent. Other things you can assign for homework is for them to present their favorite toy live. They can prepare it, but they have to present it live. If you want, if you have a class with too many students, you can say, okay, next time I want Vaso and Jota to present their favorite toy. On Monday, I want Leah and Lydia to read us something, a page from their favorite book. On Thursday, I want Annie and Eleni to present their favorite food. So because you don't have time for everybody to present things in every lesson, you can assign them different tasks for different lessons. They can present their pets. Now, let's go to web tools.
Before you go on, Mary, can I add something? The parents and the young ones love vlogs, actually, creating videos. So we have done a lot of vlogs with our classes, especially how do you spend a day in the house. So we have created lots of videos. They have created lots of videos, and parents love taking pictures or recording videos of their children doing things in English. So use it. Okay, you don't share it with others, of course, because of GDPR, but just watch it. It's amazing.
And you know, you can create video challenges with, we do it once a week. It's either Eleni with me or Annie or Vicky, another teacher, and her daughter. We create a video challenge and we ask other teachers and students to do it as well. So for example, Hokey Pokey or Freeze. There is a nice song that says Freeze, or I don't remember. I mean, they're
action songs, a lot of action songs, yes.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And you know, we video record ourselves. We post it on our asynchronous platform, and we say video challenge. Now it's your turn, and other teachers and students present the same. And it sort of connects us. It's heart melting in some ways because you see them, you know, the little ones doing all these things, and you know, we miss them so much. So it's good to see them doing some crazy stuff. Now, going forward with web tools, these are the ones that work really well with young learners: Kahoot and Kahoot challenges, Quizlet for vocabulary assigning and self-check, Jeopardy. Mike and Des showed us this one, and it's a great game to play live. You can find lots and lots of great games on ESL Games World that you can play synchronously or asynchronously. Twinkle, that has ready-made PowerPoint presentations and for all ages. It has a lot of CLIL as well. Wordwall and TinyTap, that are my new obsessions, and I'll show them to you now because I have become, I mean, I spend my time every day playing with Wordwall and TinyTap. Excellent tools, and I don't know how I didn't know them before. So let me show you. It was here, I think. Yes. Okay. So, okay, this is Wordwall, where you can create game-like activities on anything you want for synchronous or asynchronous learning, or find ready-made ones. Okay, I'll show you this one. We had to revise past simple. It's so easy that you won't believe it. And they have to hit all the verbs that are in past simple. So hit the words that are verbs in past simple. And it goes on, you'll see it becomes more difficult. Again, hit the words that are verbs in past simple. And many, many more. And one thing I recently discovered about it is that if you have an activity, you can create it in other types of activities. So here we're doing, if you see on the right part of my screen, this game is Whack-A-Mole, but it can be transformed into a group sort activity, a true-false activity immediately just by clicking. A balloon pop activity. So you just insert the material you want once. It takes like 3 minutes. And it immediately creates, with the same content, different games.
Mary, we have to mute every time which student will want us to give us the answer.
Well, you have the right and wrong answer here. You can create, the examples I just showed you are for asynchronous. and they get their answer and score. But like this one, for example, is for synchronous. So we can play it now in class. Go. Is it in the past?
Ah, okay. Good.
They can play it on their own, but they can also play it with you. And like I have created my activities here. I think Andriani told us about it. I don't remember.
Yes, Andriani.
And now I'm obsessed with it. And you just subscribe for free, and you create your own activities. You can create printables as well, of course, when we're back. But I've been saying that to all my webinars since we shut down. Do not use documents, PDFs, and PowerPoints with your students because this is not online education. Online means links. It means interaction. If they have to download something, write on it, and send it back to you, it defeats the purpose of online education. So don't do that. And now the other one I wanted to show you is TinyTap, which is again free and great. And you can create your own taps, but you can also find for very young learners ready-made material on different topics, and they're all interactive. And the great thing that it has is that it's connected with Oxford University Press, and it has lots of great readers and activities. But look at that one. I want to show you something. If you do young learners, you have the Oxford Picture Dictionary. This one is for starters. This one is for movers, starters, movers, flyers. So you can go to that and play with a tap. This is called a tap.
Oxford Picture Dictionary, content areas for kids. Every day.
So you have
wake up,
things they need to know, and then
friends,
Glasses, light, short, eyes,
and they can revise vocabulary. They have to know for young learners exams, and then their games.
put the pieces in the correct place.
Okay,
Dark,
I think that's it.
light,
And this is how they can revise material for young learners. But it's not just that. You can use it with very little ones as well, like for pre-junior or pre-junior, however you call it, nursery. And it has, you know, the colors, for example. And a wealth of resources. And like you can also check here on, stop it now, on anything you want, like where's the mouse? And you can play games with them. You can assign the taps, focusing on the language you're interested in. So I'm now obsessed with TinyTap and WordWall. Quizlet, Kahoot, Jeopardy are pretty straightforward. Sorry.
There is another one similar to Kahoot, which is called Quizzes.
Yeah, Quizzes. Yeah.
It's similar. It works like the same way. You can, but I think that Quizzes, with Quizzes, you can assign for homework a game or something, and you can get scores from there, from the results actually of the game. So you can,
yeah,
from Kahoot as well, right?
From Kahoot, if you decide to do Kahoot challenges.
Challenge, yeah.
Okay, the other one I wanted to tell you about is, sorry, I used the wrong screen. I'm going to go to the right screen. Cambridge has very good resources on here. Not very interactive, but good, and you can create them into interactive activities. So again, if you want to do the material of young learners, Cambridge English has very nice lesson plans and activities with videos. So this is Sing and Learn. I assigned this to them for the weekend. They had to listen to the song. I uploaded the video to learn how to sing it. And then you have a test, a task similar to starters based on the material they studied. Sorry. And of course, Learn English Kids by the British Council. Fantastic activities you can use with your students on anything you want, followed by a video, introduced in fact by a video, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, whatever you want. I mean, there are amazing things you can do online from here. And now I have to show you this. Okay, as I said at the beginning, we need to have a combination of synchronous, asynchronous learning so that there is some balance. Can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to asynchronous learning, it's good to use a flipped classroom approach. Ask Mike and Dad is more about it. So during the asynchronous, not the live, we present the lesson. We can set a video, we can do listening activities, grammar presentation, we can assign vocabulary to study, they can practice through quizzes, they can do reading comprehension, Kahoot challenges or quizzes or whichever platform you use, and they can produce language on videos or audio. So you can ask them to prepare something and record themselves or their voice and send it to you. Now, during the synchronous part of the lesson, the live part of the lesson, it's time to explain things and analyze things and practice things. Now, if you assign starters, movers, flyers, tests, it's time to do your exam analysis, to deal with questions. It's time to do pronunciation tasks and live polls and Kahoot Live and anything live. Now, I will unmute you all because it's time for your questions, and then we'll do the poll. Questions, people? To me or Annie or Eleni or Kelly?
Εμείς δυστυχώς το Big Blue Button πρέπει αναγκαστικά να έχουμε κλειστές τις κάμερες μας. Η τάξη μας αποτελείται από 27 παιδιά.
Okay.
Είναι λίγο challenging, να τα έχω σημειώσει όλα.
Okay. I do classes with many students now, like 39, 38, 35. It's not impossible. It can still work. You need a very tight lesson plan. You know, a lesson plan where every activity follows the other in a very predictable order for you, and that follows the breathe in, breathe out model. Any other questions?
Maria,
Yes.
how can we use those interactive games in our live lessons?
Not like okay, let me show you
So that all students can participate. Is that possible?
You have to ask them one by one.
One by one, okay.
Yes. So for example, if you do the Wheel of Fortune, you say now it's, I don't know, Elizabeth's turn. Γυρίζει ο τροχός, it's the verb go. How is the verb in the past, for example, or whatever you want to choose.
Or they can say the answer all together.
Yes. You're next to me. It's too loud. Okay. Other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've used breakout rooms with my older students. How does it work with younger students?
It works great, but don't have too many people in the room. So you have up to 3, ideally pairs. So you tell them, for example, open your workbooks because they cannot see your screen when they are in breakout.
Yeah, I
so
know.
Tell them, you just, you know, I don't know, corrected something, explained something, and you say, now go to your workbooks. I'm going to put you in pairs. Yana is with Liz and Yota is with Maria. You tell them who to expect in the room.
Yeah.
Because you need to know. And you do together exercise C on page 29 on your workbook. You do an ICQ, instruction checking question to make sure, and then they do it together and they love it. And you know why they love it? For the reason we talked about at the beginning. It's not because it's a language thing. It's because they connect with each other and they miss their friends. And now that I have mastered breakout, I matchmake them. Now, if I know that they're friends or that they like each other and they're flirting, I have them in the breakout room with the person they want to talk privately.
Yeah.
And give them a little bit of extra time, because really, they're happy.
And I do have another question, one more. I like the idea of self-evaluation, and I do use it quite a lot. I was wondering how they give us this evaluation. Would they chat it to us? Would they say it in front of the whole class? Maybe that's like totally.
Listen, when they do dictation, for example, or we do some exercises from the workbook, and they had them for homework, and I just show them the correct answers on my shared screen from the interactive whiteboard software of the book, the ebook, and then I tell them, for example, okay, tell me your mark on set, or send me your mark to the chat privately. It's up to them. You will be surprised at how harsh they are on themselves.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I would definitely give higher marks than what they give themselves. Or at the end of the unit, for example, you can create a poll with questions. I will show you one now. How well do you feel you know, for example, words about clothes, words about animals, the seasons, how to talk about your everyday routines. This you can actually do in Greek as well for younger learners, because self-evaluation is a life skill. It's not just about learning the language. It's about learning how to live your life. So you can do that in Greek.
So you would suggest it as an open class activity?
Yes.
It could work as that also.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
Annabeth.
Yes, Annabeth. Okay, unmute yourself. Yes.
Sorry. Right. Hi. Thank you for all the ideas and material. I just wanted to ask, does word wall actually incorporate images as well? Because with my kindergarten ones, they can't read. We have done some.
No, it's not for kindergarten. I don't think it's for kindergarten, word wall. You should use TinyTap. Use TinyTap for kindergarten. Yeah,
because I've done Kahoot, but then I have to ask the parents to assist. Okay. Because if I assign anything like that, it has to be with the help of the parents. And the other thing that I'm always conscious of is when you're introducing anything new, that you have to be aware that, with mine at least, they're a 5-year-old, there's always going to be they're going to be exposed to not only their classmates, so it's not always such a safe environment, because you also have someone's mother, someone's grandma, else who's there watching. So you have to be really, really careful with what you're asking them to do, and that the fact that they can actually do it. So it can't be too difficult for them, because otherwise it's counter benefit really. If the exposure is negative, then they won't want to do it.
True. And I mean, another thing you need to have in mind, especially the ones of you who are school owners, is that now is the time for us to be judged. But also evaluated. So in many ways, this is the best marketing we can have, or the worst marketing we can have, because we are in everyone's house. Everybody can hear us. Everybody takes part in our lesson. So the way we use language, the things we say, the things that our students do will be judged, and it can kill us, or it can boost our schools from September on, because this is when I think we will be open again. So use it as a unique opportunity and be very, very careful, as Annabeth says. Because if they start saying, Mama, δεν καταλαβαίνω τίποτα, τι λέει αυτή, we are doomed.
Μαρία, να ρωτήσω κάτι.
Yes.
Η Ζανίκα είμαι.
Yes.
Αυτό που μόλις είπατε, πώς θέτουμε όριο εμείς στους γονείς? Δηλαδή αυτό, θέλουμε τη βοήθειά τους για να προετοιμάσουν κάποια πράγματα, ήδη έχουμε επικοινωνία με mail, με όλα αυτά. Δηλαδή για να μην φανεί ότι τους... ή αυτό, έχουμε αλλάξει εντελώς, αυτό που μας παρουσίασε σήμερα είναι εξαιρετικό, αλλά αλλάζει κάπως τον τρόπο που κάναμε, ας πούμε, το assignment ή το homework για το σπίτι. Αν έρθει κάποια μαμά και πει, μα γιατί δεν τους βάλατε αυτό αντιγραφή, γιατί δεν τους κάνατε, τους εξηγούμε ότι δεν μπορεί να γίνει όπως γινόταν στο φροντιστήριο.
Ναι.
Δηλαδή όλη αυτή την παλιά, ας πούμε, πώς να το πω, την παλιά νοοτροπία.
Ναι. Κοίτα, είναι μια μοναδική ευκαιρία τώρα το online environment για να εισάγουμε καινοτομίες που δεν μπορούσαμε πριν, με τη δικαιολογία ότι
Έτσι πρέπει να γίνει. Έτσι πρέπει να γίνει τώρα.
Ακριβώς. Εμείς, για παράδειγμα, που κάνουμε κανονικά super communicative lesson, τώρα αναγκαστικά το έχουμε κάνει ένα τσακ πιο παραδοσιακό, γιατί κάνουμε πολύ presentation practice production πια, αυτό το κλασικό PPP, για να είναι πιο, το classroom management πιο εύκολο. Οπότε είπαμε breathe in, breathe out, δηλαδή εγώ το σκέφτομαι ένα λίγο πιο παραδοσιακό, που είναι λίγο passive. Πάμε ένα παιχνίδι, ένα active. Μετά πάλι καθίστε και κάντε την άσκηση στο workbook. Πάμε να κάνουμε λίγο word wall. Δηλαδή, θέλει μια ισορροπία.
Ούτε να αφήσουμε το βιβλίο εντελώς, αλλά δεν μπορούμε να μείνουμε και κολλημένοι πάνω στο βιβλίο, δηλαδή στη δομή που μπορεί να είχαμε πιο πριν. Ωραία, ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Κάνουμε και το βιβλίο πάντως. Επίσης, σε σχέση με τους γονείς, να πω ότι μερικοί είναι ανίατες περιπτώσεις.
Καλά, αυτό είναι σίγουρα.
Και θα το πω έτσι ομά, γιατί για παράδειγμα, έχουμε στείλει βίντεο, έχουμε στείλει mail, έχουμε στείλει παρακλήσεις. Να υπάρχει όσο γίνεται ησυχία την ώρα του μαθήματος. Και υπάρχουν περιπτώσεις που λες και τους έχεις πει ό,τι υπάρχει στο σπίτι να το κάνετε, το blender, τη σκούτα, τη τηλεόραση, τις φωνές, κάντε την ώρα που κάνω μάθημα. Λοιπόν, αυτοί οι γονείς για μένα, όχι απλώς δεν βοηθούν, καταστρέφουν τα παιδιά τους. Όχι εμένα και τα άλλα παιδιά, τα παιδιά.
Τα παιδιά, ναι.
Λοιπόν, αλλά δυστυχώς υπάρχουν πάντα και αυτοί. Και δεν λέω για περιπτώσεις που πραγματικά είναι δύσκολο να το ελέγξεις. Μα δεν χρειάζεται να βάλει μαμά σκούπα την ώρα που το παιδί έχει μάθει.
Ακριβώς.
Θέλει να μιλάει στο τηλέφωνο με την κολλητή της.
Αλλά πάντα υπάρχουν και αυτοί οι γονείς. Τελείωσε.
Ωραία, ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Λοιπόν, ναι, βεβαίως.
Μια που συζητάμε για τους γονείς. Ήθελα να σε ρωτήσω πόσο παρεμβατική είσαι εσύ την ώρα του μαθήματος, εάν κάποιος γονείς, ας πούμε, έχω μια μαμά η οποία την ώρα που κάνουμε μάθημα εξηγεί τα πάντα στο μικρό, γιατί ο μικρός όντως χρειάζεται κάτι από πάνω. Την ίδια δουλειά έκανε εγώ όταν κάναμε μαθήματα. Πώς θα την έκανε τη μαμά.
Ντενίζ.
Απάντησε από μένα.
Ναι.
Ντενίζ, επειδή έχω και εγώ 2-3 τέτοιες περιπτώσεις, αυτό που ζητάω πάρα πολύ ευγενικά από την αρχή του μαθήματος είναι αν θέλετε να κάτσετε δίπλα στο παιδί, γιατί αισθάνεται ασφάλεια για τον οποιοδήποτε λόγο, γιατί θέλεις να έχεις τον έλεγχο του υπολογιστή κτλ. Μπορείς να το κάνεις χωρίς να επεμβαίνεις καθόλου. Σε περίπτωση που εγώ έχω σταματήσει το μάθημα και λέω, χαμογελώντας πάλι πάρα πολύ ευγενικά κτλ., λέω, αγάπη μου, θέλεις κάτι, ρώτα εμένα. Okay. Το λες και το ξαναλες είναι για τα παιδιά, μπορούν να προσαρμοστούν πάρα πολύ εύκολα. Οι γονείς είναι το θέμα.